Can you smell it?
I smell it, man.
Oh man, the flies smell it, dang. That is real live ceviche. I'm getting ready for our trip to Peru. Actually, this is one of my favorite dishes, so you guys should probably know about it. This is sesame ginger ahi tuna. And last night I soaked it in lime juice, garlic, onions, a little oil, and some different kind of real salts. And Frank Gigolo's sauce, what was that called again?
Frank's Finest.
Frank's Finest? Dang, this is legit. I mean, this to me is digest almost better than any other food I've ever eaten. I love ceviche, and I'm going to eat a lot of ceviche in Peru. I hear it's the capital of it.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Apparently you get ceviche everywhere there.
It's awesome.
Never been to Peru. Excited about that one. We're going with the RawSistahs. They booked a ticket yesterday. And Perzan just booked his ticket. So, and maybe Melissa Hennig, the raw food stylist, will book her ticket. So we might have a real crew down in Peru. And we've never been to Peru. So that should be crazy. And Troy Casey's going to be in Peru in like Iquitos. He's going to the jungle the 20th. So we might join him for a couple days and go to the Amazon jungle. And speaking of Peru, I know we've had people email us from Peru, like from different kind of permaculture farms. And we have so many people emailing us about different things that, like when I'm in Alaska and I'm getting an email about Peru, it doesn't really make much sense for me to dedicate too much time to emailing people back like that. And then we'd be at the computer even more than I already am, which is probably too much. So, we're going to Peru. Who is out there? Are there any other RawBrahs and RawSistahs out there? Do you have any advice, tips? We're probably leaving Wednesday. So the sooner you got those to us, the better. Maybe we'll see you down there. We're going to be pretty free, no plans, really no itineraries. There's all kinds of, I know there's all different kind of options. We go to Amazon, we go Machu Picchu, we could go surfing. And we're going to have a pretty big crew, so it'll be interesting to see how this pans out. We'll try to leave the camera on. But yeah, email us at rawbrahs@gmail.com if you have any ideas for us about that. Or any tips, or if you've been to Peru, or any advice. I think we're kind of going, us two are kind of going unimmunized. So, that's cool.
I got a question for you, Daniel.
All right.
So,
let me do some power posing.
yeah, I look for the things that you do most consistent in your diet, you know, as a follower of yours.
Uh-huh. You're a follower of mine?
I am. I follow what you do, Daniel.
Team Mango. Gonna make me blush in this, son.
And I noticed that you do basically, you consume two things on a daily basis. I mean, you're constantly changing up your diet. But I noticed you consume two things on every day.
I think I know where this is going.
And that's coffee
Yep.
and beer.
Uh-huh.
Now, what would you, how much of the happiness that you have, or that you imagine yourself to have, would you relate towards both coffee and beer? Or how much credit would you give those two
For my
substances?
happiness?
Yeah.
Quite a bit. I remember when I was eating the raw vegan diet, and I remember I didn't have coffee for about 7 months. Or some absurd number. I can't even remember. It was like back and forth. But I went a long period of time without coffee. And I was like struggling in Costa Rica. I was like trying to learn Spanish, and I was just so tired, so undernourished. Something was going on. And then I remember having this cup of coffee, and I remember I was like, and this has happened both times, like several times when I've cut out coffee, and I remember I'm like, oh my, when I first taste that coffee, I'm like, oh my gosh. It's like more than just like how it makes you feel. It's the taste of it. It's like the whole ritual. It's like the full sensory experience of it. And I felt so good. And then I kind of realized maybe it's a nutrigenomics thing. You know, I've heard different things that some people react differently to coffee than others. Like say I don't know what the exact statistics are. This is from Paul Reese. He was kind of hinting on this with me one day that something like 60% of the world absorbs the B vitamins from coffee. It's like a slow release. They get all the antioxidants. It's like a nice ride for them. And the other 40% just crash and burn, like anxiety through the roof. I'm definitely in the 60%. Whatever the percentage of I'm like the top percentage. If coffee affects anyone in the positive way, it's me. So I love coffee. I love it. I love it. And it's the whole full experience. I'm a coffee snob. I like drinking the best coffee from glass mugs. I like the full experience. I like someone pouring it for me and telling me about it, telling me the origin of it, the whole thing. It's a full experience for me. And the same way, I'm kind of developing that for beer as well. Like a nice fancy local beer. Like I've been drinking a little bit of that Terrapin, the local seasonal beer from Athens, and man, it's another great experience. Same kind of thing, but the different way. It kind of mellows me out for the night, a nice nightcap. And you hear about these people that drink coffee and alcohol in moderation that live a very long time, and how they kind of blame it on that. I can resonate with that. So
you're
cheers.
standing at a weird angle. I don't know how to hold this camera right now.
Oh, what do you
kind of close, and
you could just go like this. Would that help? Did that answer your question? So I attribute a lot of happiness to it. It's more of like the ritual, and I like doing it with Timothy. I like doing it with the guy holding the camera. I don't like drinking coffee with someone that's just like pounds. Like they go to Starbucks and get the mocha frappe latte, cappuccino, or whatever it is, and like spray all the sugar in there, and then like put all this milk and spices in it, and they just like drink it down like it's a job. I don't like doing that. No. I like going somewhere there's like a fancy pour over, and they're telling me about the person that went and got this coffee and what the farm is like. And then we sit down and drink it together. It's like an experience. It might be more of like a European type of thing. Maybe people in America can't resonate that as well because they're just like the pump and dump project of get coffee, go. Like chug coffee to keep their eyes awake. I'm not about that. My favorite way to drink coffee is actually when I'm wide awake. The worst time for me to drink coffee is when I'm tired. I hate that.
I even go as far as being conscious of the environment that I'm in when I'm consuming coffee. So, for instance, if I'm here at home, which I really like to drink coffee at home because it's very controlled, I know exactly what's going on, and I can really understand how that coffee is affecting my body, as opposed to being out, let's say, at the mall, where you already have so much stimulation going on, and you're drinking coffee. You really don't actually get to understand how that coffee affects you. So, it's really interesting to do these things and be very conscious of the holistic approach to consuming that substance.
And the way we do it, it kind of brings a sense of community together. And that's what the world needs right now. Take that from Perzan. Perzan was high on a cup of coffee yesterday, and he had this long speech about it. How he was drinking coffee in the sense that one day he was hoping to cut it out of his diet. And he's like, man, that's suffering. He's like, now that I accept that I love coffee and I want to drink it forever, it's a whole new experience for him. And I kind of dealt with the same thing before. I used to think, you can read so many different conflicting reports about, is coffee good for this or is coffee bad for that? It'll drain your adrenals, but it'll prevent diabetes. It'll prevent Alzheimer's, but it'll make you dehydrated. Screw it. I'm going based on experimental data, and it's good. And I have to drink it a certain way, though. I could see how those negative outcomes can happen if you drink it in the wrong way. But I'm pretty ritualistic and pretty specific and pretty serious about how I drink my coffee.
Now, question number 2, Daniel. Would you consider yourself an altruistic person? Meaning that you do things often for the benefit of others and not really considering yourself?
Well, it's a tricky question. Because that's really like a philosophical question, because like there's like an ancient philosophy about the idea that everything is done driven by our own happiness. So like if I'm gonna go out and help, say if I'm gonna go feed the hungry, or if anyone's gonna go feed the hungry, and they're like, look how good I am, I'm feeding the hungry, but really they're still doing that to increase their own happiness. I'd say that it's probably best, and that what I do is I do enjoy helping people. And is it true altruism or not? I don't think so. I would say altruism is almost like where you sacrifice your own greater good to help someone else out, like taking a bullet for someone. And I think I would do that for certain people, but on a daily, I'm not dealt that hand, so I don't have to deal with that situation. What I do more is just I increase my own happiness by helping other people become happier. So that's a kind of a tricky, a double-edged question. So does that answer it?
These questions, I don't know if they're ever answered to completion.
Yeah, I think it is a little delusional for people to think that I'm just doing this for someone else. No, they're doing it because they think that, like, even when you're selling all your stuff and and just donating all your money and you're broke as a joke, you're still doing that to increase. You thought it was going to make you a better person or a happier person. I don't think many people do things to and they think it's going to make them a worse person or worse off.
Yeah, I can maybe come up with a good example of what we're talking about here. For instance, posting an inspirational, motivational quote on Facebook, or even just relaying a quote that you may have heard that brought inspiration to your life and you want to pass it along. So maybe you post on Facebook or you write it down for someone else to see. And it's supposed, the intention is to help other people's lives, help them become better. But what I imagine the truth to be is that you want to be, by posting that or by relaying it, you want to be the source of wisdom, and you get some kind of gratification out of that, out of being able to relay some wisdom onto other people's lives. So, yeah.
It would be interesting to touch on the previous subject of coffee and beer, and maybe you could talk about it. How when you drink it in moderation, and you're like trying to really get the most out of it, you usually do it on an empty stomach. And it just so happens coffee is an appetite suppressant, so if you're waiting to drink your coffee on an empty stomach, I usually drink a lot of water right when I wake up, but all of a sudden you wait a long time to eat, and then you're drinking coffee and you even wait even longer to eat. This is the first thing I've eaten today. What time is it?
I think it's like 3.
3 o'clock. I really extend those fast thanks to my coffee friends. What do you think about that, Team Mango? I know you have some good theories
about drinking coffee on an empty stomach
and beer, and like when you do it in moderation, how it decreases your appetite, how it decreases your calorie consumption, and how that can increase longevity.
I just know that in order for me to fully appreciate a cup of coffee in its most pure form, it has to be done on an empty stomach. One where I'm actually hungry. Just like if you know, people say that they prefer certain foods over others, or they like, for instance, they hate grapes. Well, let's cut food out of their diet for a day, 24 hours, and let's see how much they hate grapes. Your taste buds vary depending on how much food you have, how hungry you are. And when you're hungry, I believe when you eat something on an empty stomach, you're able to really appreciate and enjoy that substance to its maximum.
And if you're dedicated to only drinking a beer or two or a glass of wine, like a fancy microbrewery beer or a nice glass of wine at night, you're going to get the most out of that on an empty stomach, like prior to dinner. And it's a good way to take off the edge, mellow out, have a good, once again, enjoy it with someone else. Don't drink alone. Do it with someone else. I think that's Dr. Oz' recommendation. He recommends drinking with someone else, like a glass of wine with someone else. And I know it's kind of controversial because some people can't handle their alcohol or coffee. They want it 1 cup and then they have to have 10, or 1 beer and then it turns into 10. If that's you, it's probably not best for you. Maybe find something else. But for the people that can handle it, it is recommended by the Mayo Clinic. I think the Mayo Clinic recommends 2 drinks a night for a man and 1 drink a night for a woman.
I think coffee is a drug, really. I mean, I think it's just as powerful of a drug as, say, marijuana or alcohol. I mean, it has a very impactful effect on your body. So it's kind of funny that it's so commonly used and accepted here. But, other things such as marijuana and alcohol are frowned down upon. But coffee, it's a definitely mind-altering substance, I'll tell you that. Yeah.
It's lifeblood champions, according to Will Ferrell.
Although, I think you have to set your intention before you drink a cup of coffee. Otherwise, you might go do something silly, like go shopping for 5 hours, or not that I've ever done that, but I imagine I've seen people do. Or maybe drink a cup of coffee and then work for the man. You're going to put all that creative and all that creative energy that you own, and you're going to dedicate it to someone else's company, just to make that green stuff. So I don't know. I like to drink a cup of coffee when I'm looking to express myself creatively. Creatively. How do you say that word?
Creatively? Oh, you got me now, dude.
Creatively. There you go.
Yeah, and some people think you should drink multiple cups of coffee a day. What do you think? Like the advocates for coffee kind of advocate it. Some say, I've heard anywhere between 4 and 6. Sometimes I drink more than 1, and I don't know. I drink some powerful coffee. Actually, a lot of times I drink more than 1.
I usually just stick to 1 cup of coffee and some of my chocolate that I made.
What about you guys? This video kind of turned into a big rant, but what do you think about coffee and beer? And if it's used in moderation, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Let us know. Comment below. Like our video. Classic call to action coming up right now. Subscribe to our channel. Go to our Facebook page and like it. Yeah, we appreciate it. It'd be good to see some results from all that hard work we put into these things, in one way or the other. And we love you. We really appreciate everyone that's involved in this community of RawBrahs, and now the RawSistahs too. Looking forward to seeing them. I think they're on their way down now, and with some crazy adventure with their car. I kind of told them that the real adventure doesn't begin until all plans fall apart.
That's true.
Godspeed, RawSistahs.
How cool is he?